That's just how my brain thinks. The
Yes.
opportunity. Harvard came here to do a review on the Igbo trade, system, which they said was
Apprentices,
probably the best in the world, right? So imagine you have all that, and I don't know how many nationalities. What do you think?
Currently, it is more than 25 nationalities that we
Awesome.
have on campus.
So you can imagine what happens when you're able to do, all that.
Hello, everyone. We're back again. This is Jackpot Chronicles. I'm your humble host.
Humbled by Brighton. Humbled by Joao Pedro.
We're not doing this today.
Hello, everyone. The London is blue.
I don't have the energy for football.
He doesn't have the energy.
It's too early, actually.
It's not even about it being too early.
It's the fabric of our introduction.
The
football
league,
banter.
The league just started. Like, the
And
season
you're
just
already
started.
10th. And you bought 5 defensive players this season.
You
204.
You bought the entire Africa.
And that's why I scored 6
You
goals.
bought the entire Black Race.
Isaac.
Hi guys, have you guys missed us? The last 3 episodes have been fire. I'm sure today is going to be like
We're happy to be back.
Today I have my first international guest.
Yeah, we have our first international guest today.
No apologies to Tolu and all the others.
I wanted
No,
to
but
get
we're
that?
actually all international guests.
You
to be
don't
fair.
understand.
I understand what you're trying. You're trying to enter your guys.
Yeah, I'm entering
But
my
it's-
guy.
It's not cool. I appreciate all of you now. Everybody has come as a guest on the podcast. I appreciate you. You
Sell
understand? I'm gonna sell out.
I introduced him to one of the guests. He attended the guest wedding. How do you even
You
go
did
to
not introduce me to the guest.
How do I introduce you to a guest?
You did not
France,
introduce me to the
UK
guest.
turn up. You entered after party.
Jola, thank you for inviting me for your wedding. I
Alright,
knew her
guys.
from school.
Welcome back to Jackpot Chronicles.
Yeah, we have 2 interesting guests today. Beautiful faces.
Two beautiful faces.
Yeah.
2 beautiful faces.
Okay.
They are from. No, let me just
Introduce yourself.
do
The
your
camera can do
introduction.
justice to one of them because
Yeah.
she came prepared. If you guys don't remember to mention me, you please mention my employers.
Remember my brand. So yeah, let's hear from you.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Precious Chisom Akumefule, and I am the African representative for International Business University, IBE Toronto. Thank you for having me.
Big name.
Big doings.
Big doings.
Oh, yeah?
Big doings. African. That's
All right.
interesting.
And my very first international guest.
Oh, yeah.
No apologies to all of you. All 30 of you.
I'll send. See, all of you that have come as guests, I will send this episode to you directly, so you see how your friend is treating you guys.
All right. You want to introduce yourself?
It's good to be here. My name is Deepak Sharma. I'm the senior manager working on diversity advancement. I'm working with International Business University, Toronto.
Yeah.
So my objective is to work on diversity, make more and more opportunities for the regions in Africa and in Middle East and South Asia.
Yeah. That's how to introduce yourself, Precious. That's how
You
to-
did a good job, really.
No.
I mean,
Oh, my
That's how you
God.
introduce.
Are you guys putting me on
No,
the
no,
spot?
That's exactly how they
I heard it was this info that he gave interesting, but we will still get it.
We'll
Like,
get into the details.
yeah. But
Alright,
is
so
this?
today-
I was going to ask. Is this your first time in Nigeria?
I would say yes, Nigeria is the first time, but I've been to Africa, the other part of Africa, quite often. So more than 8-9 years I've been traveling
wow. And you've
across
not been to
Africa.
Nigeria?
Nigeria is the biggest market, so the business was automatically coming in the previous company. So being the biggest part of Africa. So that is why a lot of efforts are on the auto mode. So this time I thought, because we are now working on diversity, we
Yes.
want more, the cultures
Yes.
on the campus. That is why I thought of coming and, giving the more insight about the university.
That's
awesome.
interesting.
Also, we always do this thing where we talk about how many countries have you been to, and I think we should do it with Deepak, because when I met him and he said Middle East, South Asia, and Africa, so I'm curious how many countries. How many countries you've been to?
Countries would be close to 30,
Wow.
and major come from African continent.
Are you
Wow.
serious?
Yes, I've been to different part of Africa. So,
Okay, so let's tick the box. Were you born in Canada or born in India?
I born in India,
Okay.
based out of India.
So India, Canada, where else?
Canada is yet to be explored. India, okay, start with the continent. Yes, in South Asia, been to India, the neighboring countries, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh. Then you can say, okay, Bangkok,
Okay.
Thailand, Australia.
Australia.
Okay, now let's come to this region, Africa. I have a lot
Nigeria,
of countries to say. Okay, Nigeria,
Okay.
Ethiopia,
Okay.
Tanzania,
Wow.
Zambia, Malawi,
Wow.
Zimbabwe, DR Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo,
Isaac,
Wow.
do you know
South
this?
Sudan.
Wow.
Yes,
You know, it's one of my dreams. to
I was
just
in
really-
Cameroon. Yeah,
Wow.
recently. So, yes, quite few.
So you know
Oh,
how people would always say you get mind though, because going into like Cameroon, South Sudan, Congo, those areas that have they've had some difficulties.
Yeah.
But it's one of my dreams, and I mean, it's one of the reasons why I just felt called to this business, where I love to visit, new, diverse cultures.
Yeah,
and things
absolutely,
like that.
absolutely.
Which culture will you say has really, really fascinated you the most thus far? In all
See, the,
30?
the best part is the more you start knowing the culture, the more respect you have. Because when you're sitting at one place and you hear it from people or particularly media, they have their own stories to
Yeah.
tell.
Yeah.
But the moment you meet
You
people,
interface
you
with
eat
them.
their
Yeah.
food, you sing their songs,
Yeah.
you meet them casually,
Yeah.
you know more about that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Africa is a culture of energy,
Yeah.
vibrations, and lot of cultural rich communities there.
Yeah.
So I think I've been respecting more and more the moment I have been exploring the culture. So yes, there've been different part of colors that I've seen in all the countries, whether it is in Africa, whether it is in South Asia, whether it is in Southeast Asia. I've been to Philippines recently. I've seen their culture as well.
Yeah.
So you become more respectful to people, their culture, and you're not stubborn with your idea. Oh,
Yeah.
my religion and my culture is the best one. You take the best out of everywhere,
Everybody and you put it
this is
together.
this is what
Yeah.
we want on campus. So it's a deliberate effort that we have gone so far. Because we want to give this diversity to the students.
Yeah.
We are imparting business education. So in business, you have to be respectful to the culture.
Yeah.
So the more people or the students on campus, they know more about students when they mingle about students from Africa, Europe, Middle East. So they start respecting. And this is what we want to impart in their brain. Yeah.
Yeah. So before we get into business proper, how has your experience in Nigeria been so far?
Full of energy. Yeah, I'm yet to explore the nightlife, but yes.
Have you tested
it's
the
full of
Nigerian
Please
energy.
don't. This is we're not in the best time security wise, so
Okay.
I don't think I would advise anybody
definitely.
if it's not a
Yeah.
very close, like your hotel.
Yes,
You know, like
absolutely.
I think some big hotels have that, but aside from that, please don't go anywhere in Nigeria.
Well,
right
I
now
mean-
But I
because
would
it's
say
not-
this is everywhere, even in the country
Of
which I
course.
belong to.
Yes,
If you're
yes.
at a wrong time, wrong
Yeah,
place,
wrong place at
you are
wrong
in
time.
trouble.
You're in
Yes.
trouble.
Even I used to tell my students as well, when you're in an alien city, alien country, you always go with the flow. You know, don't be at a wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah.
You know, so for that moment, yeah, I think it's going good so
when,
far.
when you say your students, are you a lecturer as well? Or you used
No,
to
I
lecture?
used to be. I used to
In
be.
IBU?
No, previously in my assignment with one university in India,
Oh, okay.
nice.
I used to teach the soft skill to the student, the
Oh,
critical
wow.
thinking to the student.
Wow.
So, which is one of the aspects, important aspects of
Yeah.
the education.
That's
That's
also
interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just get into it real quick. So this was the question you wanted to answer. You're so eager to answer. So,
Oh my goodness.
What exactly is the mission and vision of IBU in the context of global business education?
All right, so IBU International Business University, they value diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we as an institution, we strive to be a place where people from different backgrounds can come in and feel welcomed. They can feel loved, they can feel respected and valued, right? So this is one thing that we are big on, diversity and inclusion. So it's just like I would always say, at IB there's a place for you, really, as long as you have the passion for business education, you have the passion to advance in technology, in innovation, then at IB is that ideal place for you. So IBU, we are also driving to be that preferred destination when it comes to global business education. We are driving that change across that the global business education sector, and we are doing just fine. So yeah.
One thing I'm looking forward to with IBU, anybody that knows me knows that I'm a builder. I like to build stuff. I'm looking for a university that's going to be innovative. And, IBU is relatively new compared to like University of Toronto, for instance, or one of these other universities. I'm looking forward to a university that is very innovative, whereby when students go to your school, it's not just that you have fantastic courses, but they talk about how innovation, has really
Absolutely.
changed how even education is delivered,
Exactly.
and their thoughts and things like that. So yeah, I'm excited to hopefully visit Canada and really tour some of these schools, very soon as well.
You're most welcome. And on innovation, I think we are the best one. Why I say that, the tagline that we have, we are the next gen university, next generation university.
Yeah.
Why we call that? We have achieved so much so far in short span of time. We are Canada's number one, the first, the private university which is not for profit. Ontario's first university not for profit. So the objective is to grow in education. Next generation is we combine together the experience of studies, the corporate. We make sure the eminent speaker from the corporate world, they come, they share the experience with the student so that the students are ready when they complete the studies. So in terms of curriculum, we are next gen. We make sure the curriculum delivery is such a wonderful, for example, teaching 2 subjects in the first 2 months and the other 2 subjects of 1 term in the next 2 months. So this decreases the load of academics on the head of students, and at the same time enable them to be more expert in the subject area. So just few to mention.
So, sorry, I was going to ask, how old is IBU?
We started officially 2021. We started the program. From 2019 to 2021, we were making sure that we have all the approvals in place. We are designated learning institution in Canada. So we are there to support in terms of the post-study work permit for the student. So yes, from then we are just growing in numbers, in quality, in the approvals, in memberships.
Yeah.
Okay. So what would you say makes IBU stand out from like the reputable global business schools in the world?
The membership or the quality of the education is always evaluated by the approvals and the membership that we have. So I am very proud to say I'm part of AECSB membership, which is globally only 6% of the business institution being recognized with. So I'm very proud to say that we are a part of that. So this recognize us, this put us apart from many of the business schools in Canada and the world.
That's really interesting. I actually got to know about IBU I think last year or sometime early this year, and I've seen that you guys now have like a lot of interest in Africa.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, is there a particular reason?
As my colleague she mentioned, diversity, inclusion is the values that we have been. This is the value of Canada as a country. They respect immigrants.
Yeah.
So being the university born there, we started there. So even our values are diversity, inclusion. We want the cultures to be respected on the campus. Diversity is only possible when we have people from all over the globe. The students from all over the globe at the campus. Yes, Africa particularly. Maybe because of, as I mentioned earlier, the vibrancy that they bring along with the culture. So that is what we respect. That is all the more reason why we have come over here to, tell them directly that this is what we want. So yes, Africa is one of the continent that we want on campus.
And just to add to what he's saying, if you look at, the growing trends of Canada being a preferred study destination for people from here. You can see that there's a growing interest from this part of the world, from Nigeria even. There's a growing interest. The trend for maybe 10 years back, if you check the percentage, is not what you have. There's exponential growth. You can see that. So this is what makes Nigeria and West Africa, even including East Africa, a path that is desirable by most international institutions to enroll in African students. So it's the growing interest, the market trends, and just like as he said, the vibrancy from the people here. Yeah.
One of the things I'm looking forward to is with where Africa is going to as the next. Everybody talks about Africa being the next big thing, and you have a university that is focused on innovation and of course business is the core of that. I'm curious to the part of diversity where you now have maybe 60 nationalities in IB, and I don't know how many. I would ask how many you have thus far, and then you're able to have use cases of bringing all their business strategies, insights, cultures, and forming something that is really, really, really. You guys are smiling. You guys sound excited like that, but yeah, that's just how my brain thinks. The opportunity. Yeah. Harvard came here to do a review on the Igbo trade, system, which they said was probably the best in the world, right? So imagine you have all that, and I don't know how many nationalities. What do you think?
Currently, it is more than 25 nationalities that we have on campus.
So you can imagine what happens when you're able to do, all that.
Yes, and the beautiful part of working on a business is these are different brains on campus.
Yeah.
When they're dealing with each other, when they're doing the case studies, when they're doing the capstone project, this is what they bring out. The experience of their own cities, their own culture, their own tribe, and they use it for their betterment, for the ideas which they're going to bring out. This is how the nations are growing. This is how the world is growing positively. When we have positive minds and covering the different aspects, which maybe one person from Asia or one person from Europe will have different aspects of the same situation. And in business education, the case study is one aspect which is the growth from where the student will learn. So yes, the globalization is one aspect.
And just to add to what is being said about diversity, I think IBU's core focus also, aside the academic or professional focus and all that, we are also creating a multicultural environment where students from different background, it's inclusion we're talking about, can interact together, because we want to see that these students, their journey, it's an experience with IBU. So when they're leaving the four walls of IBU, they're living with an experience. They're living as a better versions of themselves. They're living as persons who have interacted with different persons. They're living as people who have the exposure, right? In terms of cultural exposure, networking, and even it will help them to be better leaders wherever they find themselves. So this is the focus. This is the drive behind everything we do at IBU.
And it's funny because it's centered in Canada. Canada has been at the forefront of immigration policies and trying to get people of diverse cultures, the best talent into the country for the last 15, 20 years. Imagine what happens when people of diverse cultures go to a university like that, and then what they can do for their culture. People coming into Canada when they're done with school, setting up franchises, businesses, and obviously even cross investments, right? You're India, I'm Nigeria, you're Algeria, like that, and you're like, oh, my country has this, you have that, I have the network to be able to do this, and those things form the lifetime. Those things make for the next business tycoons across different countries, and it's really, like I said, very intriguing. The opportunity that is right ahead of of the university and of course the alumni.
So you spoke about diversity and inclusion. Would you say it's one of your strongest selling points for Africans or particularly Nigerians? Like, for example, if I choose IBU, what's something Nigerian or African
that stands out for us?
Apart from that, I think we have spoken enough on diversity. That is definitely the USP. But apart from that, what we are giving to the student, the career that we are giving to the students, the location itself is the unique point that I want to focus on. We are right in downtown Toronto, where all the corporates, they have either
Businesses.
their head offices, they have
Yeah.
their main offices. So what student is learning in the class,
Again.
they see that thing is happening around them.
Yeah.
So yes, this is what we are giving to the international student, the buzz of the industry
Yeah.
that we are giving. We are not a regional campus that you won't see a business around.
Yeah.
We are giving you business opportunities
Yes.
everywhere.
So you get to meet CEOs. You could go to a coffee shop and just walk and meet a senior
Exactly.
manager,
Yeah.
a manager, a hiring manager, and things like that. Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's awesome. I look forward to that because you're right in that. I remember a student called me a couple of weeks ago and talked about the fact that the jobs in the area of Canada that he was at wasn't so exciting. And this is a school who's saying that, look, if you are in Nigeria, for instance, you understand what it is to have a university like
Yeah.
Ikoyi.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
guys- I mean, you're on the island right now, so you know
Absolutely.
what it is for you to be in Ikoyi VI, where all the biggest
Top businesses
companies
are-
in
Absolutely.
Nigeria have their
Exactly,
headquarters,
exactly.
or at least their regional headquarters settled. So you're eating around the same areas with employers. You're mixing in social aspects with people who may already have began working in your field.
Yeah.
You make friends and things. That's really interesting.
And we are just trying to get the opportunity into the next level. What we are doing is we recently set up a career development cell. So what we try to intend is we are making sure that from the very first day the student is on the campus,
Yeah.
we start building up their resume.
Wow.
We make
Wow.
sure that the student is in the list where they can, interact with their alumni.
Okay.
They can interact with people, as you mentioned rightly, from the big corporate through the speaker series. We have a speaker series program where the eminent speaker from the corporate, they will come and share their
Yeah,
experience.
awesome.
So they get the opportunity and they get the networking done. So they get the resume building help. Everything is done so that it's not the end of the course. Then we start getting the companies for them.
Yes.
It's from the very first day they enter on the campus, we start building up their career.
And shout out to Covenant University and any private university that really did that I know, because my friends went there, whereby every summer you have an opportunity to go do some level of internship.
Absolutely.
So now with IBU, you go do like a Bachelor of Commerce, and every summer you could choose from, I'm guessing, like Microsoft, Apple, Samsung, and all those top companies that are in that Toronto area.
Yeah.
And you just go do internship. If I'm that student, I wouldn't even be asking for money. I just want to be able to say that I did 2 months in
yeah.
Apple,
It
2
does a lot
months
on
here,
your resume.
That
and
is
in
my
3
resume,
years,
yeah.
my CV is so robust.
Yeah.
Because 3 years ago, the guy that was the manager is probably now a senior manager or
Yeah.
maybe the CEO. And he remembers that, oh, you did great work working with me as a summer intern, right?
Yes.
I'll give you a job.
That is why we call Toronto as a hub of action. We call it as a second best financial hub after maybe New York.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everything is happening around the corner. So you get the benefit of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I'm already envisioning having another campus in Vancouver, because that's also, I believe, the next big hub
Absolutely.
in
Absolutely.
Canada, because you've got just like you have IBM, Apple.
That's a very strong vision.
I mean, people call me a visionary, like, again, king of Japan for a reason, but I'm that kind of person who just really believes. Once I believe in something, I even would drive that vision longer than the person, yeah, and that's exciting.
Yeah. So, what are the quality of students you guys look for, especially from this region? Because I feel like Africa has some kind of bad PR on
Stigma,
the international scene. So, like, what kind of when people apply, what do you guys look out for African students?
We actually prefer both important aspects of student. One is their academic background. Second is their experience in the corporate. So these both of the two things, they both are very important. I won't say which one is more important than one, because you learn from your academics. Somebody who is very good at academics, we want them. Somebody who is average with academics but has a very good experience in corporate sector,
Yes.
we want those students. So
Yes.
we actually average out both these qualities. So this is what we are looking at. Somebody who is a mature student, we want to see, even if their academics are average, what learning they have gathered in the span of their experience with corporates. So this is what we look at. That is why resume is a very important aspect of our eligibility criteria.
And that's exciting, because our last guest is now an associate professor at Queen's University.
Yeah.
And he finished his first degree in Carleton. but he didn't finish well, right? He
Okay.
shared a story here of how he had to sort of assist his parents going to school, study and work. And when he applied to Queen's University, they rejected him. But by the time he was reapplying and they saw his resume, it was much, much better than even the top class students, because
Absolutely.
he had a couple of businesses.
Yes.
He already bought a couple of homes in Canada, and they're like, "Who is this young boy?"
Yeah.
And now at 31, he's already an associate professor. So I'm looking forward to, and I don't think we should stop talking about diversity, because I'm looking forward to IBU saying also that they have 25 new lecturers from 25 different.
Oh,
Oh
That's a
yeah,
very good
that's a
aspect.
strong one.
and
That's gonna
that's
happen.
again, trust me. I'm a pastor. I'm preaching.
Yeah.
I am catching the vision.
But do you guys also consider extracurricular activities?
Absolutely. In curriculum, we look into the extracurricular activities for a student. Even small, the activities at the college level. If that person is a leader of any community, maybe a sports committee, maybe a cultural committee. If that student has done participation in committees, he was kind of a leader in small unions. So we also promote that, because you don't know, when exactly that leadership qualities can be, fruitful. So even these kind of curricular activities, extracurricular activities in sports and community development, in programs, in related with any army participation they have done in the previous. So these kind of things we really promote. We want these kind of things in the resume.
And just to add to this issue of extracurricular activities, IBU is not a boring university.
That was
Let's
what I
put it
was
that
to
way.
ask.
We're not a boring university. We're not that campus that you just come and all you're just gonna focus on is just your lectures. In fact, our class schedule is so flexible that our MBA programs run as as flexible as 2 days a week, twice a week.
So he's asking because he went to Covenant. So he's been scarred with a lot of church book.
So that's the thing. That's why when most people think about going back to school, there's this pressure that comes on them because they feel like,
because of our frontal lobe is already like aching that book again. And that's what you're saying.
And we at IB, we want you to be a well-rounded individual. We want to shaping you to be a well-rounded individual.
Awesome.
Yes, we are trying to create or produce the next generation business leaders. Yes, we are doing that, but we don't want to just have raise people that do not have a
work-life balance,
a well-rounded life.
Or
you're not
work-life
creative. You're
harmony,
not
like the Amazon CEO calls it. He calls it work-life harmony, and that's really interesting because those of us who schooled here, when I was much younger, you heard us talking about football. It's like a thing here, right? I wanted to, play football, go play for Chelsea, etc. And my grandmother was like, "No, you're too smart for that. Go read your books." Here in Nigeria, the opportunity for guys to go from the poor neighborhoods to like Victor Osimhen now in Napoli, where you are the star and everybody wants you. It's it's really small, right?
Okay.
And so our parents really just encourage us, and obviously. Our parents are also sort of our lecturers, because if my lecturer is 50, my mom is probably that age. So that's what they also had. So everybody
Yes,
just thinks
absolutely.
that, it's book. And of course, in our part of the world where we are big on religion. So if you're a Christian, it's book, church, you go eat. So, and that's really one of the things that I think it really scars Nigerians. Yes, there needs to be a balance. Those things are good.
I think
but
to
there needs be a
mention
balance.
here, the academic curriculum is maintained in such a way, it's so beautiful. As she have mentioned, 2-day classes only in a week. And along with that, this term, one term is of 4 months. So in the first, actually in one term, there are generally 4 subjects. So student will study only 2 subjects in first 2 months,
Wow.
2 subjects in the next 2 months.
That's
So in
awesome.
one term, this is how the curriculum is maintained. Though we are giving, if you look at the speciality that we have, the program that we have, the kind of innovative programs that we have maintained, but still at the same time, the curriculum is not a burden on the student. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Let's talk funding. Do you guys have any special financial support programs or scholarships at IBU?
That's a special part of the question. I love to answer that, especially for African students. We have a scholarship which is 18,000 Canadian dollars scholarship at the undergraduate level, and then MBA is a specialized program with the compensation already given on the program. So around 35,000, you complete the complete program of MBA.
Wow.
So yeah, we
I think that's one thing that will make IB stand out, because Canadian institutions are not really big on scholarships exactly. So that makes IBU stand out, especially for African students, because it's one thing for you to get admitted into an institution in Canada, and then it's another thing to fund your education. So it's really interesting that IBU can offer such programs. So about the policies, the new immigration policies attached to study permits, what's your take on the, especially for this part of the world where, like I said, we kind of had a bad PR here, so like it's always hard for us to get visas and all that. So what do you think about the new policies, especially having to obtain a provincial attestation letter and all that?
See, in terms of policies, there are two aspects. One, the overall study permit rate, which is improving a lot in the recent years. Second, how exactly the government policies, how exactly the provincial policies in Canada affecting the institution. You must have seen, starting January after the announcements from Mr. Mark Miller. So a lot of restrictions been imposed. I won't say restrictions. The government is trying to impose a strict measure that only the serious and studious student should be there in Canada. Why? Because they are the part of the next generation who will be building Canada. So that is why they have imposed restrictions, because they want a quality student. Now coming to the restriction, how they are affecting institution. Our institution, we're dealing with, we are first of all welcoming those restrictions. But yes, the MBA program, the program curriculum was designed in such a way, the provincial attestation letter is not required for MBA students. So the students, they are not categorized on the basis of that. Yes, in Canada, Toronto being the most favored destination, the restrictions are there at the undergraduate level, and we have been restricted by the government to have some cap on the undergraduate program. But the MBA program is all open for the students, and we are welcoming all the mature student, the pass out student, the recent pass out student. They're most welcome in Canada. There is no restriction on that. Even the program that we have, it's an open work permit for the spouse. Somebody who's coming up with family, they want to plan, ahead. So they're most welcome there. And looking at the restrictions that we have from the consulate over here, yes, they've been a little strict in the terms of the quality of application, so that only the quality goes to Canada. And if you see the overall rate, the way we've been improving, I guess only the months to come, you will see even more, such the percentage would be a little better in terms of the previous. So yes, the policy has been taken care really well.
Yeah, and I think that right now, Nigeria has a better than 40% acceptance rate for study visas to Canada.
Absolutely. Starting from 8 to 10%.
Yes, exactly.
And now it is 40.
Yes.
So look at the way we have grown in the past, not more than 7 years.
Yes. And I think that I'd rather add that IBU is one of the biggest beneficiaries of this policy, because not just in getting your approvals and making sure you're with the right bodies and getting all the quality lecturers and the facilities, IBU offers what is like an affordable cost for an MBA.
Yes.
Some MBAs and flexible too. Some MBAs cost 80,000 Canadian dollars. Yours are just about 40,000.
35.
Well, I mean, by the time you add travel, I tried to just give it, but yes, thanks for that. So, but by the time you also think of the fact that students with experience are considered, students can get their GMATs considerations if they have that years of experience as well.
Absolutely.
It's not that you just focus on a 2-1 only. You guys also consider 2-2 students, saying that look, we understand even that type of diversity. And so IBU is sort of primed for this policy for the next couple of years. And also at the Labor Education, we're happy to help clean house, hoping to send at least 50 students to IBU every year. It's a great target because imagine all the students now who want to go with their families. They know that even with their 2-2, they are not cast aside. And it's also affordable. So it does sort of ticks the boxes for us, in Nigeria right now. And trust me, that diversity, it favors us here. And I'm really excited to see where the next couple of years goes, because the minister has also said that there are more changes coming to that policy. But we know that students who come to IBU for that MBA, you sort of have that comfort. You don't have to think of anything.
You don't actually have to think about anything. Just like you said, it's just like, well, this is workable. Canada is possible,
it's
because
possible
when
again,
that's when the whole
policy
announcement of the policy, it was like
deflated.
Canada is no more. People started panicking.
Yeah.
That was the first thing that happened. People panicked. It took time to process all this, but now we are at the point where people are now understanding that if you're going for a master's or a graduate program, you have an advantage, right?
Yeah.
And that's where universities like IB is positioned to welcome you and bringing our requirements, making it flexible, making it accessible for you. We are able to capture a large population of Nigerian students or African students that want to still, that desire to study in Canada. So this is a very prime time, and I feel like every student out there who is even watching this broadcast should be able to, key into this opportunity.
I think credit should be goes to the partner like him, who are actually required in this market, where you hardly find somebody who is giving the right advice, because people more are keen to
Make money.
focus on making money,
yeah.
sending the student to the institution where they have just one room institution. They don't have DLIs. So that is all the more reason why we've been partner with the such an eminent organizations like him, because they've been very particular about the profiles.
Yes.
They are guiding right to the student. It is good to give a clear picture and not to get a student, rather than getting a student and giving a false picture.
Yes.
So the credit goes to the organization like yours, who are there in this market to guide rightly.
Thank you for that. And it's a good point to talk about our upcoming conference happening on the 19th of October 2024, where IBU would also be there, and we're focusing, of course, for 2025, having students prepare, early enough. Generally, you want to go to Canada now, you're showing bank statement for 6 months. So you want to look at January 2025, May 2025, or September.
Start preparing.
Our organization, Ilewe, believes that students need to always, prepare ahead of time. And now we're going to be, inviting universities and students, and I know IB is one of our main sponsors of that event. I like to put them on the spot, whereby we're focusing on students, particularly when I'm able to tell a student that, you can go to Canada with your tutu. They just they lighten up, because some students have tried many universities and got denied, and they're like, look, I'm a manager at KPMG, but I can't get into this university. I'm a senior manager at the bank, and I can't go to university simply because maybe I wasn't serious when I was in school. Most of us weren't really serious. It's not everybody that is like me that was at FICO in school. People like Isaac here, who didn't really do well with WAEC, JAM.
Oh my God.
He wanted to bring that out.
So you guys just watch this space. We'll announce the event details, but it's certainly October 19th. And I know IB will be here. We're hoping to get Deepak to come back to Nigeria for that, but you're sure that you can get what we call on-the-spot admissions once you meet that requirement. You sort of already can tell with IBU that, look, they want you just have to be the right student, right? You can afford the tuition, you can make the deposits, and if you're going alone or going with your family, you can then, meet the financial requirements to get your visa. And once you tick all those boxes, Canada, here we come.
Okay, so back to regular program. I was going to ask about housing, because it's one of the biggest problems for Nigerians when they get to Canada. So do you guys provide any form of housing or accommodation?
Absolutely. This is very important part of a student's life. We make sure that even before they plan their tickets and book their tickets and come to Canada, they have their rooms ready. So we have a partner with big giants in Toronto who are specialized in providing the accommodation. Now, when we say specialized, the accommodations are available for the students from as low as just for a week to as for one term or 1 year.
Yeah.
So all kind of accommodations are there. We have partner with big companies like Harrington Houses, House for Stay. So there are many good companies that we are partner with. So before even you plan your ticket, you fill up a simple form, and the student can provide their preferences, what kind of a room they need, what kind of amenities they need in that room, whether on the shared basis or individual basis. So they can have as low as $260 in a week to $1,200, $1,500 a week. So depending on what kind of amenities they want. So yes, housing we have taken care very well. At just a distance of 5 to 10 minutes, a walking distance from the campus, you will get your best of the best places to stay.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So I was going to bring it up earlier. I totally forgot. Do you guys have courses that maybe, because you talked about inclusion and bringing in the global context to your business education. So do you guys have courses that relate to like African economies, African markets, and all that?
In the beginning, I think my friend, he mentioned about innovation, technology, and how exactly the student can, bring back the experience and be, a leader in the country from they belong to. So we have, programs like this. We have MBA. In MBA, we have vast variety of program, and one of the very important programs that we have is a technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship. So this program focus on, the young minds, what education we can impart them, the experience, and then what exactly they can bring back to their own country and be a leader in the first runner of the economy. So yes, we have these program. Somebody who is looking into the financial aspects of any economic aspect, they want to be studying the economics, so we have financial analyst kind of a program for them. We have somebody who's more keen into the international aspects of economy, so we have the global business management as a program, technology, somebody who is more keen into the technology aspects of or has experience in IT. So we have program for them. We have a general MBA. Somebody is, they haven't make up their mind, but they want to see the, the curriculum and they want to decide later. So we have a general management. Somebody want to take operational, financial, or marketing management. So yes, we are taking care of all the aspects, and how we will teach the student, that learn and what exactly you're bringing back to your economy, to develop your economy.
And I think just to hit on what Deepak is trying to say, I think the key focus is on the individual's intention to impact what he has learned from school to the home country. So when for example, you've taken a program in a very unique course like MBA in technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship, that's a very power-packed program, right? And then with that kind of program, you're being positioned as, like a perfect candidate when it comes out there to the, job markets, global business management, and all that. You have all-round experience in technology, in innovation. You're an innovative thinker, you can impact on the global scale. What that does for African students is that with that kind of knowledge, that kind of skills being transferred to you, it means that when you come back home, you can use that, transfer it back to, the situations around the society, because society needs this. It's not just on, having, putting on the government or this thing. Society needs individuals that will take it upon themselves to decide that, they are going to, contribute to the development of, the economy, whether it's in business, whether it's in healthcare, whether it's in education. Africa needs that, the society needs that. And that's why I feel like I support most times people traveling to, go and get this quality education from outside, because I believe that at the end of the day, at the long run, it's for the betterment of Africa, bringing back, transferring this knowledge back to Africa. We need it in this century. Yeah.
And when you take a look at the fact that the Canadian government would ask you, what is your reason to come back, your proof of return? I also love this as some insight that if I go to Canada to IBU and I'm in a classroom with 25 different diverse nationalities, not only am I learning from the school, I can learn from my classmate what works in their system or what happened a couple of years before us. We talk about Nigeria is 60 years plus in independence, America is 400 plus. That diversity is not just in our culture now, it's in how far long democracy has been working there. Not here where we're sometimes unsure if we're going to go back to the military era, so the ability to then say that, oh, look, this is how India got 1 million billionaires or 1 million millionaires in dollars over a period through technology, through education, etc. And this is India that is, I don't know how many times the size of, we speculate 200 million people here. They are estimating, I believe, 1 billion people in India. So the ability to learn and then come back here to apply, that is also something that is a selling point for a school like this, because largely you're going to be getting in a classroom a lot of people, not just of now diverse nationalities. You would get some who are likely maybe very wealthy, some who came that were funded by some scholarship or had to save to get there, and then I'm able to touch across points. And you mentioned capstone projects, which are usually a very key thing for postgraduate programs, because the ability for 10 of us to come together and create a solution that the whole world or a whole nation can use. That's really something exciting.
So like here in Nigeria we have specialized universities that offer like programs that are not so like does IBU also offer programs that are outside like the business focus?
We have diversified programs, but the center focus is the business. Why I would say, because ultimately, whatever the organization is, you need a leader who's going to run the organization. You need a highly skilled manager, whether it's a healthcare organization, it's a financial sector, it's a consultancy. So you need a skilled leader. A leader can take the organization from one city to many cities across the same country, and from one country to the multinational countries, multinational organization. So this is how the organizations grow, and that is what our focus is, to cater to all the organizations, but building the leaders for them.
Interesting. Is there a strong alumni network for IBU?
It's going to be very strong because it's a recent university. So that is what we are building.
But the energy that we are seeing from the students, I look at the activities, what they come together to do. Some of them even take certain projects, even in back there in Toronto. You can see the energy. And I'm even more impressed when I see Nigerian students representing. So I can tell that the kind of alumni network that will be built will be one of a kind, the type that will move things in the world.
Because most of these globally recognized schools, it's their alumni that that really pushes them. So that would be very interesting. Okay, for partnerships, do you think you guys would ever say, okay, you're partnering with like a government because it's a niche? So for example, there's a school of petroleum and they have partnership with government. So they bring in students from these countries and they train them as petroleum leaders or something, and then they bring them. So do you guys think you can do that for Africa? Is that something you guys have planned?
Definitely, with the guidance of the local partner like him, we can work on exploring these opportunities where we can specially design some project. We can design some curriculum for maybe the government leaders, maybe the educational leaders, or anywhere possible. So we can work on together. I think this
certainly.
is a nice idea bringing
yes.
out of the discussion. So we can bring out small programs which will be focused exactly on the kind of the managers or the leaders that we will be getting. If it from the major economic partners, we can design program like that. If it is related with some financial sectors, we can design a program for them.
Yeah,
That's a good idea. Yeah.
I know that one thing that we could certainly talk about is if IB is going to start having when with MBAs, they usually have some level of what do we call this, like cross carpeting, where you move from one country to another, those kind of
Exchange
international
programs.
Exchange programs.
not really
Okay.
exchange programs, but like exchange opportunities, where sometimes you have to go from Canada to maybe to France or to South Korea, and you get to spend a couple of months
We already
there, those kind of
have
things. Okay.
in place. We already have articulation agreements
Okay.
in most of the countries where we give these opportunities. We accept the credit of that particular country, and those students are given the opportunity to come and explore the opportunities in Canada,
Okay.
like study for a short time. So we already have articulation agreement with most of the countries. But yes, in Africa also we can explore, so that we can give them a short kind of maybe a credit exchange kind of a program where the students can go explore the opportunities there,
Yes.
come back.
Yes.
Their credits will be recognized by the organization here, the
Yeah, and
education.
then-
And the
yes.
same way, the Canadian, the students, our student will be coming to Africa
Africa,
for a small, short program.
Mm-hmm.
The credit will be transferred from here to the parent. So we are already working
That's
on it
awesome.
and in discussion with most of the partners.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah.
So I mean, on the final note, what advice would you give any Nigerian students, planning to come in for any of the intakes in 2025?
The academics is number one that they need to work. Having a strong academic curriculum that they have studied with, it will give you an edge when you apply to any university. If you are a mature student, a good exposure that you have, how you learned from one profile, and what is the growth that you have learned in span of 5 years. If you have started with manager, you have become senior manager after 3
Yeah.
years if you are a mature student. So that is really going to be very important aspect of whether you're taking admission in Canada, in IBU, or anywhere. The academics for a fresher student and the corporate experience and the managerial experience for a mature student for MBA would be one standpoint they have to really work on. So focus
Yeah.
on that, and yes, in case you have something to add, it would be
Final
good to
word.
hear.
Yeah, so for final words for African students, for Nigerian students, I would say that there's something we said about opportunity. When you see opportunity, you grab it. In Nigeria, we are we recognize
Yeah,
opportunities.
yeah.
So I would say that IBU is an opportunity, a strong one at that. We've spoke extensively on, the program, career pathways, we spoke on what this university is actually built upon. I think that it's a recognized opportunity we are creating here. It's an awareness. And when a creative thinker, an innovator, someone who wants to go to the next stage in his career sees this kind of opportunity, they don't hold back. So what I would say is, for such students, they shouldn't hold back on this. IB is an opportunity. And now we are extending our hands. We are embracing international students. We are extending our arms to African students to come up and join us on campus. I think that this is the right time for them to actually, just like you said, the Canadian immigration laws, we don't have control over that, right?
Yeah.
Just some days ago, things were said. It's not like Canada is restricting, but then we don't know what laws are coming in the coming years.
Yeah.
But whether good or bad, let's stay on the positive side.
Yeah.
However, let's make good use of the time that we have now. My dear Nigerian student, let's make good use of the time that we have now. I know a lot of people, they want to move, they want to study abroad, they want to study in Canada. This is one big opportunity that is presented on this section, and I think that it should not pass you by. Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for coming to Jackpot Chronicles. We have immigration news to go into now. And I'm sure that this episode has been very beneficial to those who may be considering Canada. All right, so we've got a couple of things to talk about, and I'm sure you guys would certainly be able to contribute here. So a recent ICEF study talks about how the cost of these new policies by UK, Australia, and Canada is affecting the international student flows. So you're talking about this analysis talking about what was the wisdom behind curbing the inflows of students into the country. And I always argue that for some of these governments, it's either about the politics of things. Like Australia does got a new prime minister, UK does got a new prime minister. Canada attempted an election for more power, but that didn't work for the prime minister. So aside from tremendous revenue loss, which is usually what happens when you stop international students, what do you guys think about these new policies? And now this is UK, Australia, and Canada, all Commonwealth countries, towing that path. What do you think?
If you look at all the countries, what exactly they are trying, they are making it little tough for the students to come. When they're making it tough, it means only the sincere students, somebody who is keen to study, somebody who is experienced, who is qualified enough, only those profiles would be selected. So this is happening with Australia. They've been doing recently, imposing all the restrictions. Canada, in a way, imposing the restrictions. This is again their way of saying that they want a quality of student. It's not like first getting all the students and then the economy, they have to be strong enough to make the create the opportunities for the student. It is no fun of getting the student and when there is no jobs for them. So that is why if you look at the longer vision of the ministries there, they want the strong pillars in the coming years. And countries like Canada, who is always welcoming immigrants, they are the forerunner in getting the students. If they are imposing the restrictions, if they are sacrificing the millions of revenue, it means they are very serious about building Canada in future.
Another news that came out is, so not just did the Canadian province make some cabinet changes, the Minister of Education has now been changed, but before she left, she placed a ban on all 24 public supported post-secondary colleges, where she says that these colleges must not enter into any new contract or arrangements with any partner till 2025. And of course, this is on the back of all the issues with private colleges and public colleges that were not given the same standard. So any new transnational education initiative for Ontario colleges is suspended
at the moment.
At the moment, no new activities. What do you guys think about that?
It is a good decision by the government, because what was happening is the public institutions, they were giving affiliations to private bodies there who are not as good as or even the minimum 10% of standard which the university or the institution itself is maintaining. So they were just giving the affiliations because the students, they want to come. If they are affiliated with a government body, they are getting the certificates from them, they are getting the the work permits. So the restrictions are to control that the substandard quality education which was given to the students. So if they won't have these kind of substandard education, it means the quality overall will improve in time. So yes, some of the measures definitely in the shorter term, the students will face the heat, the organization like yours will face the heat because we will be imposed restrictions. But look at the bigger picture, the quality. If you are being the part of ministry, you would always love to have the quality coming in your country. So this is what the governments are trying to do. Yes, their vision or the way they are handling it can be different, but overall scenario, overall mind behind it, to get the quality of students, somebody who is serious about studies, somebody who is keen to build their nationality, because they also they want to build their own country with such a young mind coming into their countries. So yes,
that's awesome. And the last one for me is Ireland. So Ireland is saying that they're introducing a new quality mark earned by Irish higher education institutions and English language providers, whereby you would know the schools that have met the mark of quality assurance. So that means that any school you're going to now, you will know if they meet the national standards to ensure high quality experience for international students from enrollment to completion of their program of education and training. Again, it seems like everybody's copying everybody. Whereby everybody's making sure. So the Minister for Further and Higher Education, Patrick O'Donovan, just announced that Trust Ed Ireland would open those applications for September, and this really does means that any school that has that mark meets that requirement. So it's not just like I'm going to University of Dublin or any school now. You know that every university has to, have that, quality assurance.
That is why the membership that we put rightly in front of our webpage, ACSB.
Yes.
This is very important to see how, even you talk about national standard, now people are worried about the international standard.
Yes.
So their education should be at par with the international standard. So yes, I think these quality measures in the long run are affecting the students, their flow, but in the longer vision of any particular country, it's going to give the positive aspects only. You will have the quality minds going in there, and the students and the parents will be more serious about going there. Yeah,
that's awesome.
All right, so thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you for coming to our pod.
Well, it was a very interesting conversation about RBU. Like I said, I learned about RBU I think last year, about thereabout. So it's nice to gain more insights about your institution. I actually started feeling like I was already
we created a picture for you.
His parents are pushing him to go for his master, so maybe he'll be with you.
Would love to have him.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and thank you so much for having us, giving us the opportunity over here to speak with your audience. And the objective is only to reach the right people so that they are guided well through the organization like yours, through the channels which you are holding here. So thank you so much for doing such a wonderful job for the society.
We hope to see you on the 19th.
Yes, October 19th. We hope to see you at our conference. Sure. So, guys, you know the drill. Click the link in our bio. You either visit ilewe.com or jackpot.ng or myjackpot.ng rather. Fill out forms if you're interested in studying IBU. Now is the time to begin. And
your show plugs.
You won't have much to worry about.
Actually, they have a very seamless admission process.
It's one of the most stress-free ones that we have in our office, and we're usually excited about that. Thank you guys for coming.
All right, see
to
you
the
guys
next
soon.
episode. Jackpot Chronicles out.